Hello everyone, this is Shikha Tiwari and welcome to another episode at You Reinvent. If there is one thing, we all want from our lives is that, how to make it more luxurious, more successful, more richer, and to have more assets and, leave a legacy behind for our children. But, if you have read the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad, most of us, 90% of us, do not have an earning problem. Most of us have a spending problem. We spend, I don't want to say that we spend in the wrong things, but we maybe spend at the wrong times, in the wrong manner. And, to discuss this, I have with me today Chinmay Joshi. Now, Chinmay Joshi is actually a serial entrepreneur. He's a pilot, a transformation coach, life and business strategist, and money mindset expert. And, he's also helped thousands of individuals to choose the correct path and experience financial breakthrough in their lives. And he's also the founder and CEO of Roaring Dreams. I saw some of his, content that he posts on social media, and what sort of helped me reach out to him was the simplicity of the content. Because, each time when you start reaching out to a financial expert, they start talking in a language that normal people who do not know finance or math for that matter will not understand that what's going on. So it becomes very difficult to kind of pave your way through all of that. To top it all, women, most of us have not been, at least women who've grown in my times, in my generation, we were, we did not have the mindset that, we'll have to manage money at some point in time, or we should learn how to manage money. That was always a very male dominated activity, whether it was your father, whether your brother, or your husband, or maybe your son later on. So women, I feel, are sort of secluded from this knowledge, and it becomes a mental block in their heads that, I don't want to deal with it. I don't know how to do it. I will not be able to do it well. And it always lands up with men. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. It's just that it's always better to be aware. Also, because you are, today women are almost 50% contributors to the household economy, the household finance. So, I mean, why not? Why not have a better sense of how to manage your finance so that you can help your partner, your family, your parents, your children, whatever your goal may be, you can help them better, wisely, mindfully, right? So that is the goal of this particular talk today. And we will hear more from Chinmay and try to understand what simplistic ideas he can share with us, to help us grow our money better and wisely. So please join me in welcoming Mr. Chinmay Joshi. Uh, thank you, Chinmay. Thank you for joining us today. I really appreciate you taking time on, especially on Diwali weekend, actually. So thank you for that.
Pleasure, pleasure. It's my pleasure. Thank you.
Great. So I wanted to start off with, just your thoughts on, especially when we were exchanging notes, I shared with you that this is my understanding, especially for women growing up in my generation, in the 70s, 80s, 90s. They have been on the fence when it comes to finance management.
Correct, correct.
And it's not something, I don't ever remember my family or my parents or my extended family ever telling me that this is something you don't handle. But it was never
Right.
a conversation. And it seemed like somebody else will do it for you. Either
True.
your dad, your husband, and your brother, or your son later on, somebody else will take care of it. And but those were times when they were hardly, I mean, I've grown up role modeling Kiran Bedi.
Wow.
So
Okay.
you can imagine that, there were very few women out there making an impact. Today
Correct.
that's not the case.
Correct.
It's
So
just roller coastered like anybody's business. But I still feel a lot of women, especially who are working, are at a loss of how to grow their money. We all know how to earn our money. And
true.
in trying to understand this concept, I also read the book Rich Dad Poor Dad. And the only
Beautiful.
part I understood was that, none of us have a earning problem, we have a spending problem. And that I
True.
feel is the Indian women pandemic. It's a permanent pandemic.
Correct. Correct.
Since you worked in this area so much, I want to know your thoughts on this. That what are your thoughts? Why is it just a condition thing, or women generally do not get it? Or and of course, we will get into simplifying this. For that's the whole idea of this talk. But what do you think are the hurdles? First of all, where should we start? Because it's a mindset thing, right?
It is a mindset for sure, 100%. Still today, in this day and age,
Hmm.
where we consider women as par as men, uh, the surveys say something different. The
Correct.
surveys say only 7% of women independently, self-taught, invest their money and grow. Only 7% in India.
Wow.
Now imagine that.
Yeah.
The potential is huge. The opportunities are huge. But of course, there is some mindset block that has carried on from from centuries maybe, that men take care of the money
Yeah.
part and the women take care of the home.
Home. Yeah.
Now this mindset has changed externally, but internally, like you said, they can earn, but internally they are still having some what I call identity issues.
Oh.
When I say identity issues, meaning that they've set identity about money in their mind.
Hmm.
For example, a lot of women, when I talk to them, I come to know that a hidden identity that they have is that I'm not a good money manager. So that's why I'll give it to my
Yeah.
husband or my father or my
Correct. Correct. Correct.
brother, right?
Correct.
So now, if that is the identity that I'm not a good money manager, and that's why I'll give it to someone else and they will handle it well, it doesn't allow them to feel empowered themselves, right?
Right.
So it at the core of it, it is the identity, right? So that needs to change. Once the identity changes, everything changes step by step.
Yeah. Just to add to that thought, if you actually, I think that identity is also misguided. If you actually look
Correct.
at it, women have been saving money under the bed, in their lockers,
Correct.
in their
Correct.
kitties for centuries.
Correct.
That's how most of us have gotten our sofas and curtains and everything else, because women, my mother including, that's what they've done. And I mean, thanks to Modi ji's demonetization, all of that was uncovered, right?
Correct.
But
Correct.
so it's but I think it was a unintentional way. We have not been intentionally at growing money,
True.
so we
True.
can do it. It's just that we don't know how to do it. And like you said, it's an identity thing. So,
Yeah. So the first step is to fix the identity. Then comes the skill part. See,
mm,
if you know the skill, but your identity has an issue, you'll still not be able to do it. There are so many women who are chartered accountants that I know do not invest or hesitate to invest. They still want their
husband.
husbands to do it for them, right?
Mm,
Why? It's the identity at the core, right? So that needs to change first. Then the skill part, anyone can learn. Today, if you are willing to
mm,
learn,
mm.
anyone can sit in front of the YouTube for 10 hours and become the master in any field, right?
Correct. Yeah,
But even if they have that knowledge, even if they've learned their skill set in the college, imagine chartered accountant women
I know.
still
Yeah,
not
investing.
wanting their own money to be invested by them. They
Mm,
want their husbands or fathers to take decisions. So
right.
somewhere it's in Indian women especially, I've seen is this core identity that I'm trying to fix as well. Because by God's grace, I was brought up by amazing women who and who was like a superwoman,
Mm,
and she's a teacher, a school
mhm,
teacher, and then she got promoted as a principal and education inspector.
Wow. Mm.
But what I learned from my mother was exactly how to manage money, right? Totally contrary to what popular beliefs
Opposite.
are.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because of some health issues, my father was not able to work forever in his life. So my mother was the sole provider of family, and she managed really well. She got me well educated. She got my sister well educated. She constructed beautiful homes. She bought another property, and she's retired now, living and enjoying her life. All that happened unintentionally, but it happened out of this belief in her that
I can do
was
it.
forced in a way that was forced in a way that now I must do it.
Yeah,
When there is no other option.
yeah.
My
It's
husband
like
can't do it, so I must do it.
circumstances.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. But it shouldn't be. It
Shouldn't be.
doesn't have to be that way. But it was. So, she had no option. But now women have options. Women
Correct.
have opportunities out there. So the first thing I definitely suggest is change that identity, start learning the skills. All right.
Mm, mm, mm,
Sta- It could be very simple skill. It could be, having that discipline of saving 10% of your income. That's
mm,
it. But that discipline can shift your entire future.
mm.
Right.
Right. Yeah. No, I was talking to somebody the other day, and I work as a freelancer, so there are those ups and downs. Some months are very good, the other months are not so much. So,
Correct.
this friend of mine was generally talking, and she said that it's okay, it doesn't matter. Don't have to worry. You will probably just not save enough this month. I was like, I'm not worried about that because saving is a forced saving. It's an expense for me. It comes
Correct.
into my bag and goes away. So it's like it's almost like a school fee or a rent that you're paying.
It's compulsory. Right.
Yeah, it's compulsory for me. I mean, that's how
Very
I
nice.
set it up. But I'm worried about the usual khana pina and all the other expenses because it is going from that kitty itself. Where else? I mean, you're not roaring in money. So I think those small, like you said, if we can just set up 10% away, then that
Right.
okay, even in difficult times, something is getting added up, and
Correct.
we can all survive. We know that.
And you did it wonderfully. You made it automatic.
Yeah,
Uh,
I don't
so
even know it. It's gone.
most people don't do that. Most people think at the end of the month when there is excess left, then I will put it
Then I
aside.
will do it. Yeah, yeah,
That never happens because our mind always goes to bare minimum. Okay.
correct.
Our mind sets standards. Whatever standard you set it at, it will achieve that. Maybe lower, but not, higher.
Right,
So
right.
now if your standard is, let's say, for example, I my monthly expenses are 30,000 a month.
Mm,
Somehow your mind will find a way to bring that 30,000 in. If you set your mindset at, what, my monthly expenses are 1 lakh rupees a month, somehow your mind will find a way to bring that 1 lakh rupees a month.
mm.
Whatever is compulsory, the bare minimum,
You
your
will
mind
figure
will
it out.
achieve.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Right. So why not set higher standards
yeah.
and, put 20% aside
Aside, right,
automatically the moment it comes.
right,
For me and my family, now it has become automatic. The moment any amount comes, because
right,
we have business incomes, so it comes, in chunks,
right,
little chunks every day. The
right.
moment it hits the account, 20% of it automatically goes to the other account, where, from where we invest.
Invest.
Right.
Happens, right.
So now that has become bare minimum, 20%. Now some months, if it doesn't happen, it
Mm.
pinches us. Oh man,
Yeah,
it didn't happen.
it didn't happen.
Right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
But we have set that standard.
yeah.
Whatever standard you set it at. If you set a standard that, what, by the end of the month I should have zero,
Will
it
be at
becomes a
zero.
standard.
Yeah,
And sadly, that's the reality of majority of people. you know but they can increase it. They can increase it.
yeah.
It's just a shift in that mindset. First, shift in the identity,
Identity,
then shift in the mindset.
mindset.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's when they will uh, learn the skill set. So identity, then the mindset, then the skill set.
Right.
Otherwise, just learning the skills. I know a lot of people who say, you know what, I want to learn intraday trading, and I'm going to invest in it. Or after a year, I meet them. You know what? Next month, I'm going to learn intraday trading. I'm doing the research. I'm doing the research right now.
Yeah.
I'm watching a lot of content. I'm
Yeah.
watching video. Do you know what, man?
I'm going
I'm
to
going to
crack
hit
it
it.
also. Yeah.
I'm going to crack it. And they never take the leap of faith. Why? Because
It's fair.
inherently it's an identity issue. In
Mm,
their mind, they think I'm not a good money manager. And
correct.
out of that issue comes all these fears. What if I lose my money? What if
Yeah.
what if the money doesn't come back to me? What if I make bad investments, right?
Right.
So all this comes from that.
Right. No, I mean, I am one of those people. For me, I think I was telling you, the moment I see four zeros or five zeros, I will start with unit tens, hundred. That's how I count.
Right.
Uh, but when it comes to money, I am of the opinion better safe than sorry. PPF
Correct.
में डाल दो. you know, it's okay.
True.
I don't
True.
have to become a billionaire tomorrow, but I just want my hard-earned money to be safe. Uh,
Correct.
and
Correct.
you take a risk with an amount which will not pinch you. See, that's also something. Because
Correct.
otherwise, I mean, if you, let's say you start investing, okay, I'm going to put 2 lakhs in share and 2 lakh is a hard-earned money for you, then it's going to hurt you, right? Because
Absolutely.
that's the market.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
According to me, one does not need to invest directly into shares in order for them to be financially independent. You don't even have to learn the stock market. You
Right.
don't even have to watch the stock market. If you are disciplined with your money,
Hmm.
and if you are, if you are doing what you're saying, if you're saying 20% of my money, I will put it aside. I'll invest in the mutual funds.
Hmm.
Let other people who are expert, the fund managers of mutual funds, do the
Yeah.
job for me.
Yeah.
I will do the best what I can.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think what people are trying to do these days, because of the internet and a lot of hype of investing in shares, people
Investment.
directly want to invest in shares. People are taking loans to invest in shares. Worst thing to do,
Yeah.
worst decisions to make, right?
Right. Right.
Because what if you lose? I am meeting people who are, when people come to me, meet me, or I do one to one. I give them 15 minutes. Ask whatever you want to ask. So they say, sir, I've taken 7 lakh rupees of loan and I have put it in this stock, and currently it's going down. Should I take it out? I said, first take it out and give the money back to whoever you have borrowed it
Absolutely.
from.
I know.
And then whatever is, is, is your income, put 10% of it into a fund. First, become at least financially free. First, have at least an emergency fund,
Correct. Correct.
right?
Correct. Correct.
Emergency fund is a fund that you put it aside, which is equivalent to of 6 months of your expenses, 6 to 12 months, ideally.
Mm, mm.
And then you start investment journey. Some people don't even have 2 months ka kharcha, and they are going ahead and taking loans.
Yeah.
So they're not able to manage risk because of two things. One is that they want to get rich quick.
Yeah.
Greed. Greed is good, but you got to know that greed should be learned in a way where there should be strategies.
Systematic.
uh, Systematic greed, right?
Mm.
So that's number one. And the second issue is that uh, they're very they expect high in what will happen in 3 months, and they expect very low in what will happen in 3 years. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
They have high expectations of, what, in three
How
months
it can
this will
grow. Yeah.
double.
Yeah.
In
Yeah.
6 months this will if I invest in crypto, in 1 year it will be double.
Mm.
But then uh, in 3 years, if you put it in mutual funds, it will automatically double,
Correct.
right? If you choose the right funds. So people underestimate what they can do in long term.
In
They
long term. Yeah.
overestimate what they can do in short term.
Short term. Yeah. Yeah.
That's the second
And
issue.
yeah, I think from what you're saying, and this applies to a lot of areas in our life. Consistency is key. Whether it's about creating content, exercising, eating healthy,
Correct.
whatever.
Correct.
If you're just
Correct.
consistent, it will sustain itself and give you the results.
True.
Great. So let's just jump right in and try to understand some. let's say tips for women who have just about started their careers in their early 20s, mid 20s, what would
Right.
you tell them, how should
Right.
they, because sooner or later these, if they're not married yet, they will probably, in another 5 6 years they will find a match and get married.
Right.
So one is, I think, a shift of how they should look at their money differently.
Right.
This is not to say that you don't have to collaborate and create the life of your dreams with your spouse. This goes
True.
for both men and women, but because men are generally good at it, we are focusing more on women. So, what would you tell them? What should this young girl do to make
Right.
herself financially secure and her family actually? Because in the process,
Right.
we're all helping each other. So,
Sure. So someone who's just starting out their careers,
hmm,
they should follow this rule for sure. 50, 30, 20.
okay.
50% of their income, they should, if at all required, entire 50%, they use it for themselves and their families.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. 30%, they use it for their lifestyle. For example, they want to buy purses, they want to buy luxury, they want to go have fun with their friends. Why not? You should do that.
Yeah, yeah.
20%, put it aside in
Invest.
an investment. Okay.
Mm.
Uh, Actually, this is a golden rule for everyone, but especially someone who is starting out,
Starting off. Yeah.
do that. Now, if you're really smart, you will turn it around. Really smart women or men, they will use the 20%
Yeah, 20,
for their
30, 50.
necessities.
Flip it. Yeah.
30% they'll enjoy, and 50% they will invest, right? And by the time they are in their 30s,
Mm.
they're financially free.
Wow.
Why? Because 9 years, 10 years is more than enough to invest. Let's say if you're investing 50,000 in a month,
Mm.
okay, 10 years from late age 20 to 29,
Mm.
it's more than enough to invest 50,000 a month, compound it. By the time you're 60, 65, it will be more than 4 crore rupees.
Wow.
If you stop investing by the age of 30, you start from 20, stop at the age of 30. Okay, only 10 years you invest. That's
Oh,
it.
that's all.
That's it. But
Wow.
if that money you don't touch and it keeps on compounding, at the age of
Mm.
65, you would have corpus of around 4 crore rupees. Imagine that.
Wow.
So that earlier you start, the better it
Sooner
is.
you start, the better it is. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Correct. Correct. So, someone who will start at 30, at the age of 30, some people think, oh, you know what, right now, let me enjoy my life. I will
Boy,
start
yeah.
at 30.
Right.
Someone who starts at 30,
Mm.
they will have to invest for at least 15 to 17 years to get to similar amount, maybe more. Maybe they'll have to invest for 20 years so that by the time they're 65, they have around 3 to 4 crores of
Mm.
corpus. Someone who is starting even later, they will have to probably double or triple the amount of investment.
Mm.
So the later you start, the harder it gets,
Correct. Yeah. Yeah.
right? So
And
someone who's starting, yeah,
yeah, this rule actually goes for men also, young boys who are just starting
absolutely.
off. I mean, there is no gender discrimination here.
Yeah,
So
money doesn't discriminate in anyone.
yeah.
As a matter of fact, you know, uh, today by chance there is the day of money, right? That
Yeah,
today
Dhanteras.
is
So yeah.
Dhanteras, right?
Yeah.
And
I
we
didn't.
pray the goddess of money,
Yeah, yeah.
right? You didn't know, right?
I knew,
We
but
planned
I
this.
I didn't realize that we planned it and it just fell in place. I mean, what a beautiful coincidence, actually.
Correct, correct,
Yeah,
correct. I was just thinking that this morning, that what a beautiful coincidence.
yeah, yeah.
We pray to goddess of wealth, goddess
Yeah,
Lakshmi today, and at the same time in our country we see so many differences
yeah,
when it comes to managing your own money.
yeah.
I saw an ad a few weeks back. I no few months back,
Mm,
where a very interesting ad. They took four boys and four girls, and the person is asking a question to all the young people. that how many of you know uh, to make a paper boat? Step forward. So all 8 of them stepped forward. How many of you know to sharpen a pencil? Something like that. They
Hmm.
all stepped forward.
Hmm.
Then came the question: how many of you know? How many of you manage your own funds? The women stepped back. How many of you have awareness about your finances? The women stepped back, and that was like a huge eye opener for me, because that's the reality of our society right now. So
Yeah.
I was reading a survey conducted by Axis and some other survey company.
Right.
40% of young women between 20 to 25 don't invest at all. They're not aware, or maybe they're afraid, or maybe they
Yeah.
don't want to, but they don't invest at all. And then later on, they
Becomes a
feel
huge problem.
regret.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
I mean, I think what happens is that money is such a thing that, when if you start investing your money, uh, it is often perceived as a topic of discord within the families. And what I'm trying to bring out here with this conversation with you is that, it doesn't have to be. It is just a smarter, wiser way of managing your money so that you can help everyone around you, including your spouse, your children, your in laws, your own parents, whatever it may be, and you for that matter,
Absolutely.
you know. But if you're not going to use your money wisely, I mean, it's of no use to anybody, including you.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely.
And because I have myself, I mean, I'm in my, I just turned 46, and I have realized that you know I'm stingy when it comes to spending,
That's
but
good.
I am a little bit crazy in the sense that I keep thinking on something, and then one fine day it will be a blast and I will spend it. But my
Okay.
most often my spend happen in for travel. I
Okay.
cannot miss out on travel.
You
Even if
love
it
traveling.
is it's a resort just outside. I'm currently in NCR. If a resort just outside of Delhi, 6 months down the line, I have to go.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I can do without luxurious clothes, purses, or whatever, but this one
Right.
thing, but I've identified that about myself. See, that awareness is also very
Beautiful.
important, because ultimately you're responsible for yourself, right?
Absolutely.
And your own family. So if that's something which is important for you, then but you have to put that in the kitty, that okay,
You
this
set aside a separate fund for it.
allowance, that okay, this is for the travel that will come 6 months later. I know this is roughly the expense that it's going to be. So once it adds up, I can do it, otherwise not, kind of a thing.
Absolutely.
But I have noticed a lot of women, and I don't get it. I mean, call me judgmental or whatever, but they land up in a shop and they want everything. It's like you don't have a place to keep this. You need to buy another cupboard first to keep the stuff that you're buying. Where
Correct.
will it
Correct.
go?
Correct.
So,
Correct. Correct.
but so I have begun to believe that it is probably some sort of a therapy for them.
Mm.
It's a release, because nobody's crazy out here. They're all doing it for a
True.
mindful purpose. Just that sometimes you're unintentional about it.
Yeah. They call it
Retail
retail
therapy.
therapy as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So I
So
think with that,
I'll
yeah,
tell you the real mindset behind it. Okay.
yeah, sure,
Because
please.
I love
You've
knowing the
cracked that.
reason behind the reason. Yeah. So
Sorry.
God bless. So now, see, and this is not just for women. Okay, it happens with men as well. I
Yeah,
know some men who loves spending in their luxuries, or their, shoes, or their, shiny
watches
clothes,
and
things
yeah,
like that.
yeah. Hmm.
And it's just a way to find a quick dopamine hit, right?
Mm.
So whenever you accomplish a goal, or whenever you buy something new, or whenever you have a nice meal, or whenever you have your favorite chocolate or ice cream, your brain gets the dopamine hit. Now this becomes an addiction because brain loves dopamine, right?
Wow, I
And
didn't
that's
look at it
like
like
the
that.
favorite, that it's their favorite chemical
Correct.
that gets secreted, right? Now, after a little while, that small amount of dopamine is no longer enough.
So
So
then
the
it
brain wants more.
reload.
The brain wants more,
Yeah,
right? And it becomes an addiction.
yeah,
Now, let's say if a fight happens between husband and wife, you know what? I'll spend all the money.
yeah.
Why? Because quick dopamine hit, right?
Correct.
Uh, Something bad happens at workplace. You know what? I'll spend all my
Go buy
money.
something. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So whenever there is a situation, it becomes a quick way to find a quick escape. Just like a person who is a smoker loves to
Yeah, they
smoke
smoke and release everything.
because it releases stress.
Yeah,
So for people, it's a stress release uh, activity now.
yeah, yeah.
So now what to do? What's the solution?
Right.
The solution is to, number one, plan your money in such a way that your investments are automatically deducted
Hmm.
from at the first of the month, not at the 30th of the month.
Correct. Yeah, yeah,
Right?
yeah.
Number two, only keep 20 to 30% of the amount available in your account. If you don't have
Then
an option to spend,
yeah,
how will you spend?
and then
Right?
go for it if you want to.
Absolutely. Go for it. No one's telling no.
Yeah, yeah,
Go
yeah,
and do street shopping. Go
yeah.
Thailand and do street shopping. Why
I
not?
know. I know what
Right?
you're saying. Yeah,
So you got to find ways. Of course,
ways to do
you
it. Yeah,
you need that dopamine, right? But
correct.
find different ways to hit that dopamine. If you exercise, that also gives you dopamine. If
Correct.
you become disciplined and achieve a goal, that also gives you dopamine.
Yeah,
Find positive ways to
yeah,
give your brain that dopamine hit.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
No, and thankfully to that, the credit card offers and companies they don't help. I mean, I have,
correct.
I don't know, I've had so many calls in the last year or two. You have a personal loan offer, and I don't know some terms and conditions they will explain, and I see. I'm very good at shutting off. So I will, the moment I don't want something, I'm not even listening to you.
Right.
So I'm like, I don't want a personal. नहीं मैम आप सुन तो लो मुझे चाहिए ही नहीं तो मैं क्यों सुनूं? Why should I
Right.
waste my time on you? So
Absolutely.
at one point I told them, see, I want this money only if you're not going to ask it back. Then I want it. But
True.
if you're going to
True.
ask it back, then I don't want it because I don't want to fall into
Absolutely.
that trap. So they're like, नहीं नहीं मैम ऐसे तो नहीं. Like, okay, ठीक है चलो, bye फिर.
Absolutely.
But
Absolutely.
it doesn't help. People take personal loans to do up their house, to travel, whereas I think personal loan is another trap. But
It is. It is.
yeah,
Absolutely. Especially when you don't have assets that you've created, right?
yeah,
So, see, rich people also take loans, but they take loans at a very low rate.
hmm.
And what they do is they create assets from it, right?
Oh,
Uh, they are not the ones who will use their own money.
oh,
They
sure.
will borrow banks' money at a very low interest rate. They will open up a business from it that is making them double the profit.
Yeah, and
They
then
will borrow yeah,
return.
and they'll return it back, right? But they can do that because they have their emergency funds in place. They have assets in place that are paying them money every single month. They know that somehow, anyhow, they'll be able to pay this
Pay it
little
back.
amount that
Yeah,
they've
yeah.
given.
See, yeah, that's where the problem happens because common people like me, they will take the personal loan to go for a vacation to Maldives. You know.
Correct.
But
Correct.
and we are in this mindset that rich people also do the same. So it's a mindset, but rich people are doing
Absolutely.
it for a different reason, and which is where
Absolutely.
the industry is miscommunicating, because that's
See,
where
I
their profit is.
correct. If you're working as an employee,
Hmm,
your taxes gets deducted before even it hits your account.
correct,
I, as a business owner, can travel and then I can enjoy and claim that travel as a business expense for myself,
correct.
right? And then pay the taxes,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
So the taxation is different for people,
for people.
right? For people who are doing jobs and for people who are doing businesses.
Correct. Yeah.
right? And government wants to reward people who are doing businesses because they are the one who are taking risks, who are creating
Risks.
jobs,
Yeah.
who are uh, building infrastructures, building
Right.
companies, things like that.
Yeah.
So it is always going to be like that. Now, I, as an employee, am doing the same thing that a business owner is doing. I will not be able to survive. Why? Because the way employees are taxed are totally different as compared
Correct.
to the way business people are taxed,
Most people are
right?
that. Yeah.
So they can enjoy those luxuries of going to Maldives and living in the resort for 7 days, and then doing a business meeting over there. And they can claim it that, you know what, it was my business meeting and I went over there for my business
Mm.
conference. But for people who are just going so that they get nice Instagram shots for their families and friends, then at the end of the day, what happens between the walls are huge quarrels that who will pay it off and what will happen.
Yeah.
Majority of husband wife disputes happen on the matter of money,
Right.
right?
Oh, that's true. My maternal grandpa, my nana, he used to say, पैसा उतना ही होना चाहिए जब प्रॉब्लम ना बन जाए.
Mm,
उससे ज्यादा है तो प्रॉब्लम बनेगा. या तो
okay.
you have to start, utilizing it better, like grow it. So
Correct. Correct.
okay, so we covered young women and men actually, and we talked about a minimum, a baseline, 50, 30, 20, and if they're wiser and more, they want to save more money, then they can flip it.
Correct.
So now, uh, what would you say? This and this actually, they can just change the percentage. This applies to women who are working in their 40s and 50s, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so it's
Absolutely.
just the percentage, like you said, the lesser number of our years you have to save, you kind of keep increasing the percentage that goes into the saving.
Savings. Absolutely.
So what would you say for homemakers? Is there anything they can do to except put that in the neighborhood kitty? So
Absolutely. See, in this day and age of internet, homemakers can also do their little small, enterprises from home. I know so many women, they're running their businesses from WhatsApp.
mm, yeah,
They're selling jewelry, they are selling saris,
yeah,
dresses
yeah,
from
yeah, yeah.
WhatsApp, sitting at home,
So,
right?
yeah,
I know women who are writing content.
right,
I employ a couple of women who are writing content for me for
right,
my social media, and
right,
they're housewives, but they are good writers. They have good
right,
skill, so
yeah,
they are doing it. Uh, some women, uh, there are a couple of sites that they can use, freelancer.com, then Upwork.
Upwork.
Over there, they can actually use those sites
Mm,
and do certain kind of work. People need personal assistance
yeah.
online, virtual assistants online, uh, content writing, graphic designing.
Yeah, there's loads out there. Yeah.
There is so many possibilities out there. Whatever you're passionate about. If you're
Mm,
passionate about jewelry, open up a small jewelry business online. And
mm,
there are so many sources you can find to buy it wholesale online and then retail it. One skill that you can learn sitting at home is the skill of building relationships,
yeah.
right? When you build relationships with your community, with the people, and when I say building relationship, not just because you want to do business with them, it's because you care for them. When you build those relationships, your business will automatically grow, right? So you'll have to be entrepreneurial.
Mm,
All women are actually entrepreneurial, according to me,
yeah.
right? Because they are the ones who can handle
Yeah.
100
So
different things
many
at the same
things.
time,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
right? So you are entrepreneur. All you have to do is learn the skill of communication, learn the skill of building network, learn the skill of caring for people, and genuinely finding what they need and
Yeah.
then fulfill that need,
The
right?
solutions. Yeah. Yeah.
The solution for the
Yeah.
community, right?
So, with, uh, I mean, we've covered, I think, most women, except, women today, because of how our society is moving on. And maybe it was there earlier too, but a lot of women today are separated. or they are
Right.
single-handedly managing. Some have not married. I mean, I know of some people, some girls from my own batch, they've not married. Uh,
Right.
for a variety of reasons, it's irrelevant, Uh,
True.
but they're single-handedly managing the family, either their parents or a child. And typically, these girls are in, either in their 30s or in their 40s. Nobody's at 20 having decided that I will not marry or separated, So, what would
Correct.
you tell them that how should, because money is uh, by all means a survival for everyone, but it's kind of critical for this, segment of women. What would you tell them? What should they do?
Yeah. See, first thing that I think they need to know is that they don't have to figure out all by themselves.
Right.
Okay, asking for help is not a bad thing. Okay,
Absolutely. Yes.
so anyone who is an expert that you know should go and ask, seek help. How should they plan their finances? Create a budget.
Mm.
First of all, insure your own self so that just in case, God forbid, nothing
Yeah, yeah,
happens,
yeah.
but
But we
your
have to
kids,
cover the basics. Yeah.
correct, but the kids are taken care. So cover that, right? That's the first step. And you don't have to go into what I call is a victim zone. Victim
Right.
zone is a
Yeah, yeah.
zone where you feel that, oh, I am the one who will have to do everything, and then I am the one who is has been mistreated. This you can go in that zone for a little while.
Yeah.
Whatever happened, for
Yeah.
you go in that zone for a little while, but then come back strong like a superwoman, right?
Yeah.
And you know that there will always be support, right?
Right.
I remember when my mother was doing everything single-handedly, but by God's grace she had a very good friend and her husband
Mm.
who were her husband, my mother's friend was again a teacher with her, but her husband was a chartered accountant,
Oh,
and he helped my mother so well
figure
to
out the
plan
money.
her entire life, figure out so well that by God's grace it became very easy. The journey became very easy and smooth.
Right.
Even though along the journey she did tuition classes. I started working from the age of 15. I started doing tuition classes,
Right.
working part time in the contact centers
Yeah.
so that, things start working for our family. But
Mm.
see, two things that I can share from my journey is that mothers have to get their kids ready faster, right?
Right.
Regardless of whether single or not. But Indian mothers, especially, I see they are very protective of their kids. They don't want them to fail. They don't want them to do things
Yeah.
earlier on. Oh, he's just 17, 18, or he's just in his teenagers.
Yeah.
Why should he think about working from now? All that mindset should change.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
should allow your kids to be entrepreneurial from the age of
Day one.
five, six,
Yeah.
seven,
True.
as early as possible, and
Right.
teach them about money. Teach your kids about money. Talk to
Yeah.
them about money.
Yeah.
Talk to them about budgeting.
Right.
Make them aware what's happening, right? And
Mm.
seek help. Seek help. Some women don't even uh, opt for alimony or anything just because they think, oh, society, what will society think of me? But that's not the case. You shouldn't think about society. You
Yeah.
should think about your own self and your kids,
Kids. Right. Right. Right.
right?
Yeah.
So all these things, I think a single woman should take care. They should
So,
first
right.
uh,
I think what you said was a
cover this. Yeah.
term, something like a term plan, is what you said. The first one.
Yeah, a term plan should be good. Yeah, a term plan will cover her life, so that her kids are safe, and also it's the best investment. That's the first investment anyone should do, is their
Yeah.
life insurance, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Not a hybrid plan where you get returns of your insurance as well. Those are generally very low return products,
I
right?
see. Mm.
So something like money back policies, or policies with after 10 years you stop paying, and you get like 20, 30, 50,000 rupees a year.
Right. Mm.
All those policies, they look really good that they're giving you money back,
Back.
but
Well.
you're paying double as well initially for
Mm,
covering. Let's say you want a cover of 1 crore rupees. If
mm.
for term plan, if you take a term plan, it will cost you around 10-15,000 rupees. If you take a hybrid plan, it will cost you 30 to 50,000 rupees,
Wow.
right?
Mm.
So they're just giving you your own money back with a little bit of interest of
Interest. Yeah.
4% or 3%, which doesn't even beat the inflation.
Right.
So at the
Right.
end of the year, you lose your money, right? Because inflation eats your money. So
Correct.
uh, a simple term plan is better, right? So start with that,
So
right?
the does the where does the 50-30-20 rule fit for this segment, or it
You,
doesn't work, you know?
uh, so it has to work over here as well, right? Or they will
Uh,
have to find they will have to find a way, some side hustles
mm,
or some freelancing work extra, so that they can at least do this much,
do this
right?
much.
If not more.
So the same logic, you know, like if you're in your mid 30s, I mean, that what we already spoke, it is irrelevant about your circumstance, you know, it's about the age you are and how much you're earning. You know, nobody's really
Correct,
bothered about what's going on in the background,
correct.
because money is not going to grow based on your background.
Your age or background or
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
okay,
anything, yeah. Your
right,
expenses, nothing, yeah.
right.
Correct, correct.
That helps. And so, with that, we actually come to the end of this segment. We have one last question for you, which
Sure.
actually, like you rightly reminded, today is Dhanteras. So, we have to talk about spending. So,
Yes.
any golden rule for spending,
Sure.
especially in
So
the age where you get, Flipkart is offering you and Amazon is offering you. And the other day I saw an ad for a MacBook on HDFC credit card or something. It was in the newspaper, and they had done some math. And I told you, the moment I see three zeros, for me, it's something where I don't want to apply my brains. It's okay,
sure,
but
that's perfectly fine.
yeah, I mean, and I'm okay with it. And like you said, I don't understand. So I have a person who will do that piece for me.
Sure.
Very trustworthy friend. Ages I've been doing that. He's been doing my taxes, and so I am of the belief that don't consider yourself Brahma. You don't have to do everything by yourself. You don't have to
Absolutely.
create a Taj Mahal by yourself. There are people who will help you willingly,
True.
actually. And um, so anyway, there was this ad, and the whole competition came to about 70,000, and I was like, this is a deal, and I am pretty sure somebody must have bought that. That is why Mac put that half a page ad on the newspaper for that, right? And
Correct.
why would they do
Correct.
that? Because people are buying or getting lured by that, so-called offers. So, what would you say? What math needs to go back in before you get lured? And especially, today's Dhanteras and day after is Diwali. So, how should we
Sure.
save
Sure.
our money? Mm.
This is very important one, a very good one.
Mm.
So I think 4 5 weeks back, I put in a video on my Facebook, a
Mm.
reel
Mm.
about uh, certain things that banks want you to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like they want you to get into a habit of creating EMIs, paying EMIs after EMIs. So
Yeah, I
that's
think I
why
saw
they
that.
have these no cost EMIs,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
right?
I saw that one. Yeah.
Right? It had millions of views. So why do they give no cost EMIs? What is the benefit behind it? What, if they're not giving, if they're not earning anything out of lending you money, why will they lend you the money,
Mm. Mm.
right? So they lend you the money so that you get into a habit. Once, how many days does it take to create a habit? The famous saying, 21
20,
days,
21
right?
days. Yeah.
Now they want you to be in the habit of paying EMIs for 2 years, 3 years, 5 years.
Mm.
Once one EMI is over, then your mind is now seeing, oh, there are no EMIs going on.
Let
Now
me pick up
that means
something
there is
else.
something different.
Mm.
Now there is something lacking. Let me get another EMI,
Another
right?
object. Yeah. Yeah.
And that's how people end up in their lives paying loans after loans after loans, right? So this is like a very smart marketing technique of these amazing companies who have amazing marketing people working for them, right?
Mm,
So
mm.
they know exactly how your brain is working, how to make it habituated to anything, how to make your brain addicted to anything.
Right.
Facebook, Instagram, any big organization, they have amazing marketing people, brains,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
wanting you to, get into habit. Now,
They read
for
the
me,
behavior.
correct,
Yeah.
correct. So now, for me, I have to do the same. I have to treat myself as a company,
Mm,
right? If I'm treating myself as an organization, will I spend my money as I'm spending right now? No. I will first think, is it going to give me the return on investment?
mm,
Yes or no? Now, if I'm spending, let's say, 70,000 rupees on my laptop,
mm.
is that laptop going to give me return on investment, or is just for pleasure? If it's just for pleasure, then maybe sleep it off for at least a month before buying any big ticket item. Okay, big
Mm.
ticket item meaning anything that is more than, for me, it's anything that is more than 10,000 rupees is a big ticket item.
Right.
Now, the second question you ask yourself, can you afford it three times before you buy it? If
So,
you can afford it three times,
explain that.
so let's say laptop is costing 70,000 rupees.
Mm.
Can you afford 2,20,000 without getting affected financially?
Oh, okay.
If that's my rule, that's my own rule that I've
Okay.
created.
And
Okay,
why is that? So that you don't get hit by the expense.
exactly,
Okay.
exactly. So can you afford it three times over? If
Mm.
yes, if that is ticked, does it give you return on investment? Now,
Mm.
if that laptop, I'm editing my videos and I'm getting return on it, go ahead. Why
Yeah.
not?
Yeah.
But if you're not getting ROI,
Mm.
then that becomes an expense that will never come back to you, right? So check number two is, what's the ROI? Check number three is that, is it an asset or a liability,
Mm-hmm.
right? If you're creating an asset,
Sorry.
you are becoming richer. If you're creating a liability, you're becoming poorer, right? So
So
is it an asset or a liability?
anything that we buy in our homes is a liability, actually, right? It's going to kind of,
Right.
it has a shelf life.
Depreciation. Yeah,
Yeah.
depreciation will happen. But for me, let's say if I'm buying an iPhone, it is an asset. Why? Because I record good quality videos in it. Through those videos, I get thousands of
Views, and I mean, you're
dollars
able
of
to
income.
sort of market your thing.
Correct. So that becomes an asset. Why? Because it's giving me return on investment, right?
Mm, mm,
But for example, you're buying a, a brand new 49-inch LCD TV or LED TV. Now, the return on investment is zero, right? So
okay.
you'll have to calculate that, right?
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
you're running a small enterprise, or you're a freelancer, or you are a person who's doing a job, right? Doesn't matter, but you should calculate these three ticks before you buy anything, right? Whether it is clothes, whether it is
Yeah.
uh, bags, anything.
Right. Um, I have a question on the EMI piece though. So you're right, it creates a habit, and you are in thinking that okay, abhi mera TV ka EMI to ho gaya, I can now buy something else.
Right.
But uh, I'm reminded of this because I remember one of my maids at some point of time, she had these EMIs running, and
Okay.
she said मैंने ये EMI वाला जो no cost है वो use कर करके she has now a fully furnished house. She has a TV, she has a fridge, she has everything that a normal
Normal
household
household requires.
needs. And in today's age and day and time, it's probably not right to expect that somebody who's working as a domestic help wouldn't need these things. Everybody needs
Right.
these things today.
Everybody.
Yeah.
Correct.
So those times are gone where, there was that huge living standards, the gap is becoming closer and closer. So
Correct.
if I'm able to, let's say a typical EMI is 3,000 or 4,000 rupees a month, you know, I'm talking about this TV fridge kind of a thing. वो use करके, if I'm able to furnish my house, but of course I've gotten into a habit because it will take like 5 years or maybe 10 years to be able to, then what should I be mindful of?
So the first thing is, am I investing 20%?
Okay,
Right.
that I need to ask.
After
Yeah.
after I've invested, am I able to afford this? Right. If not, then it becomes a difficult decision for you now. So you are now choosing between your financial safety and security over luxury. So you are actually eliminating necessity and you're buying luxury. So now, eventually, if you don't do that, eventually you'll have to sell off your luxuries to buy
And then,
necessities,
yeah, yeah.
right?
You've not protected yourself for a rainy day, and you're just because the EMI offer is there. I get what you're saying.
Correct, correct.
And also, actually, because I'm thinking, as you are explaining, more questions are coming to me. Let's say I've invested 30 40%, depending upon whatever where the spectrum I am on, and
Yeah,
I have taken care of my let's say lifestyle. I've invested, and the first one was for themselves, right? Um, but after having done all of that, my end 30th, my bank account looks like that of a pauper. You know,
yeah,
where is the problem? Is that okay, first of all, because I have taken care of everything else?
right,
It's not okay. And then, if it's not okay, then, what should you be doing?
correct. So, see, if the bank account becomes null uh, at the end of the month, it is definitely a mindset issue, right?
Mhm.
Even after you investing, even after you uh, investing into your emergency funds, it is a mindset issue. It's an issue that at the end of the month it should become zero. Your mind has automatically accepted it, that as a reality.
Hmm.
Whatever you accept it as a reality, you make it happen. Your mind will automatically invite it, right? So uh, now that has become kind of what I call is an emotional addiction as well.
Hmm.
Uh, so it's crazy, but as I've studied it, I let me tell you something. Even being broke gives a hit of adrenaline to someone, and they will go into that zone again and again because it gives them a hit of some kind, that you know what. And then you might have seen some people bragging about it as well. You know what, every month I become broke, right?
I
Some
mean, this question is coming from a live person I know. you know
Right, right.
yeah.
And you might have seen that person bragging about it, that you know
Yeah.
what, at the end of the month it's zero, but no problem, and I'm urta fakir. And then they get a hit out of it.
Hmm.
Why? Because now they've made their mind addicted to it, right? It's all about what you're programming your mind for, right? If you're programming your mind for zero at the end of the month, it will create that zero somehow. If you're programming your mind for 1 lakh rupees at the end of the month, it will create that, right? So
Right,
it's a mindset issue that one needs to fix,
right, right, right.
and only they can fix. No one can do it for
No
them.
one else can do it for you. Yeah.
So on closing note,
Sure.
I want to share that to all your viewers, whoever wants any financial
Yes.
guidance,
Yes.
uh, for from my side, I will give them 15 to 20 minutes or half an hour for free.
Wow.
If at all they have any questions,
Mhm.
any queries, any doubts about their finances, I would love to extend this support to your community.
Wonderful. I think that's a very, very generous offer, especially on a day like this. Great. Thank you so much, Chinmay. Like I said, I wanted to create this video for our viewers, but actually, a lot of my videos are selfishly done for myself. Uh,
Okay.
because
Very
I want
nice.
to understand, and especially when I do it for parenting, I want to understand for my daughter. Um, and of course, you've tried something, and collaborating it helps. So,
Correct.
uh, thank you so much for spending time with us.
It's a
And
joy for me.
to our viewers, today is Dhanteras, and like Chinmay rightfully reminded us, so please go and spend, but mindfully and intentionally. And
Absolutely.
grow your money and use your mindset to bring more richness into your life this Diwali and for all the forthcoming Diwalis in your life. And very very happy Diwali to you, Chinmay, and to your family. And
Same to
I
you.
want to literally bow down on my knees to your mother. Please tell her
Sure.
this after this session, that it's women like her that we need more on this planet.
True. True. Absolutely. Absolutely.
And kudos to her, and she's done a fantastic job in you and what she's created. So just more power and health and happiness to her. So take care.
I'll pass it on for sure. For
Sure,
sure.
please
And
do that.
I'll share this interview with her as well. She'll be very
Yes,
happy.
please do, sir. I
Yes.
mean,
Yes.
because and that's one of my missions actually, that if I can take out one woman out of the victim mindset, just one, by the end of my life, if I can just do that one person, and I'll feel like my job is done, because we just
Beautiful.
live in that mindset of you know उसने कहा इसने कहा and खुद ने क्या कहा पता नहीं. so
True.
so
True.
yeah, so hats off to her.